Hello and welcome back to the Sunday special episode of the U Up Podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana. We love a Sunday special, right?
Love it. Perfect episode to send to a friend. Throw it on a YouTube. Throw it on your TV. You can watch while you're doing all your Sunday errands, all that kind of shit.
I love when we get sent the Instagram story of someone watching on their TV. Like, I think that is so cool. And it looks good. It's got the bright colors. So if you go get subscribed to YouTube, AirPlay it to your TV, it's a whole new way to enjoy the podcast.
Totally. I feel like a movie star.
Right.
I see that.
That's
Even though
us.
it's just streaming.
The movie stars. Before we get into it, I'm on the road, people. I would love for you to come to a show, jaredfreed.com. If you're listening right now, I'm going to be in Vancouver, Irvine, Indianapolis. Spokane has been added to the calendar. Spokane, Washington. That's right. Ring that bell. Oklahoma City, Dublin, Belfast, London, Copenhagen, Amsterdam, Berlin, Oslo, and the Oslo of America, Nashville, Tennessee. So I'm all across this great planet of ours. I'm excited.
I love when you read the list of cities because I learn how to pronounce them.
Well, I hope I'm doing it. You're learning from me. The blind leading the blind.
I've in my head I read it as I always thought it was Spokane. Spokane makes more sense.
Listen, we're about to find out which one it is from the DMs. I thought it was Spokane, but
yeah,
it's a tough place to get to. I've been there before.
I've only been to Seattle. Is it close to Seattle?
It's a flight away. You got to go inland to Spokane. Seattle's great. I'm a big...
We did a show there. It was great.
We love Seattle, love Tacoma. I'm a fan of Tacoma. I like Tacoma because all the people in Seattle talk shit about the Tacoma people, and it's actually seems like a pretty great place to live. Like it's like they share the same airport. It's just cheaper.
Okay, interesting. I don't really know anything about the Tacoma Spokane feud,
right? No,
but I'll take your word for it.
Tacoma and Seattle have this weird feud, and it just seems like Tacoma is the same type of living as Seattle, except cheaper. I don't understand. And it feels like the Seattle
I'm sure you're about to get a lot of people tell you what the difference is.
Well, they have this thing called the Tacoma aroma. They claim it smells, and it's not even a smell. There's no smell. I guess there used to be factories there where the town of Tacoma would smell, and then the snobby Seattle people would talk about them like they were Fraser Crane up in their penthouse suites. And
that is what I think. It's weird that that's still my number one association with Seattle is Frasier.
Oh my God. Great show. Did you watch Frasier?
I watched some episodes, yeah, when I was a kid. I watched some.
And a great theme song.
Great.
What is it? How does it go? It's on the tip of my tongue. Do you know the theme song?
I'd know it if I heard it, but
Hey, baby, I hear the blues are coming. Hey, baby, I hear the blues calling. Tossed salad and scrambled eggs. Oh, my mercy. And maybe I seem a bit confused. Yeah, maybe. But I got you pegged. Ha, 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 ha. But I don't know what to do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs. They're calling again. You remember that?
Yeah, that's... Look, yes, that was a good intro. I forgot about it. It's kind of jazzy, yeah,
jazzy, and it always felt like he was singing that song, but I don't know if it was him.
Oh, I always pictured it like an elderly black man,
really
singing the song.
Interesting where our brains go.
I guess
I thought it was Frasier.
Funny. That was my visual.
Well,
great song though.
Great. How are you? How's oversharing? I've got nothing but good feedback from our episode.
We loved having you on. It was such a great episode. You're going to have to come back as a friend of the podcast at some point.
And Sari reached out to me.
Yes. Sari, which is her name, the way that her name is pronounced, who was on our Triggered segment from, if you know, if you listen to that oversharing episode, that was our Triggered segment. And she Yeah, she reached out and she said that she thought it was funny. So everyone, because I did see a couple emails in the oversharing email that was like people offended on her behalf.
Really? Good.
So it's good to know that she thought it was funny.
She did think it was funny. She was laughing along, and she says, I'm just going to go with the flow. Maybe we helped her. We helped a family that day. So also, I have a red flag deal breaker for you from me. You ready?
Let's hear it.
I went on a date, okay? And I chose a place. Great bar, by the way. Can I give a plug?
Yes, Plug City. Let's go to
Plug City. Milady in Soho-ish.
Okay.
I think you and Mike would love it.
Milady, spell M' lady.
Milady. And I think it existed before the pandemic. Then they shut down and they've reopened. Beautiful bar, beautiful booths, chill. So I say meet at Milady.
Nice. Okay.
And it's a cocktail bar. They don't, it's like that's what it is. And I get there and I'm like, nice to meet you. And then they're like, and I'm like, they give us the menu, which is a very cocktail-y guy in, the white shirt, gonna shake them up and do them. And
okay.
I go, well, what are you gonna get? And she's like, oh, I'm not doing dry January, but I'm not really a drinker. And I'm like, and it's loud, so I'm like, okay, she said she's not doing dry January, and she's also saying I'm not a drinker, which I'm like, okay, cool. And I kind of was like, I am. I drink.
Right.
And then
I have an alcohol problem.
Yeah, I have an issue. What a way to open the date.
I
am a drinker. So I'm being fun with it. And then I kind of can't hear her. And she's like, I'd so rather do shrooms than have drinks. And I'm like, okay. And I know shrooms are like kind of in the zeitgeist and they're more
in right now.
It's especially in the comedy community. I hear a lot of shroom talk. So it's not as like jarring to me. That's not something I've never done them. I just, and microdosing is big, no judgment, but I'm like, okay, I guess that's her sly way of letting me know, like, this is something I like to do. Fine. And then I go to order and then I see the bartender give her, and I couldn't hear her because I just.
So what did she order?
Club soda, splash of cran.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh. And she goes, no, I'm just not. And she repeated the shrooms thing and not drinking. And it's like, it's a Wednesday night, and I'm like, okay, I would have liked to have known before.
Right. I think that's fair that you would have known before, especially like you picked a cocktail bar. It's a night activity. Like that's sort of, I think that's something that I guess it's good to know if you're a listener and you're sober, obviously absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I think that it's good to set up the date with that expectation.
Well, I would also not like to drink my calories on a Wednesday too. It's like I wasn't, at that point I felt a little bit like.
Did you order a drink?
Yeah, I'm out. Right. I mean, at that point, am I going to get 2 club sodas at a cocktail? I don't know.
They're going to kick you out.
Right. I don't know. I was just like, I had already gotten my brain over listen, let's start at nobody wants to go out and drink on a Wednesday night. Let's start at that. We're happy we have, but the idea that what it kind of felt like? It felt like I was being kind of tested. It didn't feel, it felt like it was like, well, let me see if you, well, it was kind of like, let me see if you deserve my drinking nights.
That's what it felt. I'm sure that wasn't what it was.
Okay.
But I could see why it would feel that way.
Sure. Maybe I know that sounds dramatic, but it maybe it just felt like, well, it's like to tell me I do drink. I'm not doing dry January. I'd rather do shrooms than drink. Okay, well, why? I guess this wasn't one of those nights.
Maybe
where
mention that before the date.
I would have done coffee.
Right. Let's say you said, oh, let's get drinks this night, whatever. And she had said, by the way, I'm okay to go, but also just so you know, I'm not really drinking that much this week, or
right.
I'd rather not drink tonight. Do you mind either Let's say she was like, "But I'm happy to go to the bar."
How
How would you have felt about that?
Well, I guess I would have said, let's do something else. Let's do something different. Like,
Right.
this isn't the date that makes us both have the most fun. Like, I would have said, like, let's go get coffee on the weekend or something. Let's, like, go for a walk. Like, let's do
Right.
something where if you're – and also, you know what it made it feel like, I guess? Not that I didn't deserve that this was, like – this wasn't her fun night. This was business. You know? Like,
Right.
You know, like – and it's like I'm there to, like, chill and have fun and, like, whatever. Like, let's get to know each other. Like –
Yeah. I mean, if a guy asked me on a date and he wasn't drinking, I would feel just like a little bit like, again, if he didn't say anything before the date, I would feel like, okay, well, like now I'm kind of like, I feel weird getting a drink alone, or like, I wish I had kind of known that before the date.
Right.
Because you go into it with a certain energy. And again, I don't want anyone to feel like discouraged from soberly dating. I just think it's like important to relay it in the right way. In the same way where like if you were like, let's go ice skating, and then you got to the ice skating rink and she was like, oh, I actually like I'm not ice skating tonight.
Right. No, that's it. I think that's a perfect way to put it, because
Right.
I'm not looking to force someone to ice skate. Like and also I don't want to fucking ice skate. I'm doing this because I was like doing the appropriate thing. Like, and that's the thing. Like, you're told,
Right.
make a plan.
So if you don't like if you don't like the idea, say that you don't like the idea before you actually go.
Right. Hey, I'm actually not drinking. Can we do a different type of date?
Right.
No
I'm
problem.
not ice skating this week.
Right.
My ankle hurts.
Right. I don't do any triple axles during the week. I don't know. I had this like moment of like, I was like, and we had a fine time. It was a nice time, nice to meet them. But like, I was like, you know, it was almost like, you know, their comfortability was put ahead of mine, which is what they should do. But there was no thought of my comfortability.
I think it's just something to mention before you go on a date to is it a restaurant or was it a cocktail bar?
Milady is as cocktail bar as it gets to me, in my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a cocktail bar, the thing you go there for is cocktails. You should just give someone a heads up if you're not drinking. I think that's totally fair.
Right. Well,
But also, like, why is it as fun for them to go to some place that is specialized in cocktails?
right. It doesn't help either of us, you know, unless I'm there for, you know, I guess I'm there to be tested. I don't know. Like,
Right. I don't know if it was a test. I think she was probably like, wanted to go on the date with you. You suggested this place. And then she was like, yeah, I could go on the date and just not drink and it'll be fine.
right.
I think that's probably as much as she thought about it.
Well, it is just funny that, like, you know, as far as like in people pleasing mode, as I tend to do, like when I go on a date, if I cancel a date, it's because I don't want to. I've canceled so many dates on the idea of like, I'm not going to be a fun hang. I don't feel good drinking tonight. I don't like my body. I don't like how I'm feeling right now. I'd rather cancel than put someone through that.
Right.
Or force myself to have a drink on a night where I just need to fucking chill.
Yeah, I think there's other ways to have gone about it, but I don't think it was like, I don't think she was thinking about you as part of that decision at all. I don't think she thought you would care.
Well, that bothers me too. You know, like I wasn't
then
thought
she's
about it
not
at all.
a match for you.
Right.
It's
Well,
not a match for you.
so deal breaker. You want to do the email?
Let's do it. Okay. J&J, I've been listening to the podcast since the beginning and really appreciate what you both have been putting out there. I genuinely believe that it's changed my perspective on absolutely a better dater who owns my standards because of you both, which is great unless your standard is going on a date and not having a drink. I am the worst at
It was a
making
nice time. It was a nice time.
I am the worst at making a long story short, but I will do my best here. I'm 32 and I went on a date with a 27, almost 28-year-old guy in November. Great date and immediately fell into a consistent and healthy start. Talking daily, but not all day, making plans and taking it slow but steady. Historically, I've liked to go all in quickly. Anxious, typical. And I was surprised at how calm and safe I was feeling as we were getting to know each other. I've done a ton of self-work and feel that also had to do with my new and improved dating attitude, but he was definitely a part of my feeling of stability. About a month and a half in, we hit our first road bump at dinner when he expressed a fear of being back in a serious relationship. He had gotten out of a 7-year relationship a year ago and began his freshman year of college. And the breakup was very difficult for him, despite him being the one who chose to end it. We talked about how he had pictured his life going to a certain place. He thought they would get married, etc. This was the first time he expressed this fear to me. I doubled down on what I wanted, serious relationship on the horizon, but not yet, looking for the right person and enjoying getting to know each other at the pace we are right now. And he agreed. Okay. She basically says she's down for whatever.
Right.
He agreed, but it's fine. Okay. I've always been in that headspace after a serious breakup, so I understood, and it didn't make me feel the need to back away as long as I was being honest about what I was looking for down the line. My reveal. I wouldn't really call this her reveal, but I'll let her have that one.
Well,
This
he
was our
revealed.
last, yeah, this was his reveal, not her reveal.
Well, that sometimes happens. You'll say something like I've been in that position where you're like, hey, I'm getting afraid of this. I'm feeling like this is maybe moving too fast for me, or I'm looking for something where, you say to someone, this is very early for me and certain things don't matter to me. And they go, well, yeah, of course. And you're looking for something serious, right? And you're like, oh, you didn't listen to what this, I'm telling you something. You know what I mean? Like I've had versions of that.
But that wasn't that person's reveal. This was your reveal.
Right.
Right,
You have
yeah.
to, okay. You have to listen to a reveal. I think something
Yes.
guys are very good at is hearing a woman say to them, I'm feeling this way. And then them going, I'm not there. And that's why the reveal works for a lot of guys, because they go, fuck, I'm going to disappoint this person who is there. But I guess maybe it's a reverse, because this is a reveal that I am not as far along as maybe I should be.
Right. A reveal doesn't have to be positive. A
Right.
reveal can be anything you want it to be. A reveal is saying you're revealing how you currently feel about the situation, which he did, and then she lied, which she said, I doubled down on I want a serious relationship on the horizon, but not yet. Not true. Looking
Right.
for the right person, enjoying getting to know each other at the pace right now. To me,
That's the
Not
relation. That's a
necessarily-
relationship.
yes,
Yeah,
that's her trying to say I want this to go towards a relationship without saying that explicitly for fear of scaring the person away.
When you say to someone, I want this to go towards a relationship, guess what? You're in a relationship. That's what a relationship is. It's going towards something.
Yeah, always evolving. Okay. So this was our last date prior to the holiday break, and we weren't going to see each other for about a week. I figured this could be where he takes the time to think and realize he didn't want to get into something, but instead we continued to talk every day, and when he returned to the city, it picked up in pace. We started seeing each other more frequently and began having end-of-the-day phone calls. He started them. I was happy and content, and since it was only slightly over 2 months, I felt it was progressing naturally and didn't really need to have any kind of conversation. So obviously, this is where everything fell apart.
Well, that's a mistake, too. He had a conversation with you, and then you're like, I guess we're done with conversations forever.
Right.
Like he basically told you, I have fears about this getting serious. And then you go, well, it seems okay, so I guess I'll just forget that ever happened.
Right. To me, what she should have done was said she should have reevaluated the relationship at that point. Instead she's just taking hints from him about what he wants.
Right.
About what he's doing and interpreting them in her own way. Oh, he's calling me every night. He's doing
Right.
this. It's more like, oh, that conversation should have given you pause. Should have made you back away.
Right.
But whatever. Anyway. So obviously this is where everything fell apart. We went out to dinner, had a great time, came back to my apartment, immediately start hooking up. And then I stopped to be like, hey, it's still early. Let's do an activity. Because I knew he was hungover from the night before. And if we hooked up, it would be immediate bedtime after. This led to a shift in the mood and things started coming out. He was sorry if I wasn't happy with the plan for the evening. He isn't established career-wise / isn't making as much money as other guys. I could be dating closer to my age, scared of relationships, etc. This guy is throwing everything out there.
Get the fuck away from me. I need to make more money.
You know what I say?
Yeah.
You can only have one lie, not 5 lies.
Right. This is just him going, get the fuck away from me. I'm
My
not at the right.
mom's coming over tomorrow. I was so confused. I literally meant like, let's watch a movie and had no idea how we got here. Truthfully, I feel like I blacked out for most of it. We ended up concluding that night that we were going to continue. We both deleted our hinges and agreed on where to go from there. We both moved past it, even got that hookup in. But in the morning, I felt really uneasy about how quickly and out of the blue it had all occurred. expressed my feelings to him and basically said, I don't want to be back in this place in 2 weeks. He replied by saying that hearing me say that made him think it was best we stop. Okay. He then said he would process his thoughts and send them to me. Cue me getting text of the attached handwritten note the next day. So she doesn't want it to be read, but we can talk about certain parts of it.
Okay.
Maddie so nicely transcribed the letter from a handwritten note, and she just bolded the parts that she thinks would be the most pertinent to the story.
Right.
And keep in mind, this is a handwritten note that is then he takes a picture of the handwritten note and texts it to her, which I find to be its own special, interesting.
Kidnapped her child.
Time for a handwriting analysis.
Right.
Okay. So she guess I guess my question is there coming back from this?
No.
In this situation or ever? I'm having so much trouble understanding why none of this was openly communicated to me, because I would have been happy to work on it together or support him while he worked on it. And per my awareness, we were just having a great time. What legitimacy is there to someone needing to work on things alone? Or is he just not as into me as it seemed? Also extremely frustrated that it took as long as it did to even hear about his apprehension. I feel like I've gotten so much better at weeding out people who aren't emotionally available, and I got one of those typical warning signs. I got none of those typical warning signs from him. It's hard not to feel discouraged in general after a dating situation that felt like it was going in one direction and then the exact opposite happened. Thanks for everything. Looking for a new waterproof mascara. Oh, that's sad.
Well, I'm sorry it ended for her, but there's things that I take away from this.
I agree. I feel bad for the reader, but for her to say there were no warning signs when he says he had she explicitly writes that he had the conversation with her 6 weeks in, month and a half, 6 weeks in.
Right.
That was the laying of the groundwork. That was the warning sign. Right. Also, how many warning signs do you need for a 6-week relationship? It's not that long to begin with. Like, how early on could you have gotten the signs?
Right. I think there's a couple things here that let me talk from, I guess, the guy's perspective, as I'm expected to do sometimes, where we feel too. Like, I think there's this, when she says there's no warning signs, and then he has this talk with her where he doesn't exactly say, I don't see a future in this relationship. Like, that hurts for him to say too. And he doesn't want to believe that. He wants to sit with her and go, he's confused too. So he's going, I'm enjoying your time and I'm enjoying this, but I don't, and then he starts talking about the ex and he's talking about work and he's talking about the other people in his position. It's all to say, I'm not ready for what you seem to be ready for. And I'm not ready for it with you. And he wants to stay where this was in 2-week land, and now it's 6-week land, and he's trying to let you know, I don't know if I can do 8-week land. And then you're like, well, why don't we delete Hinge? And you're like, what? Wait,
that wasn't the message that I wanted to. Well, that's why I'm saying, and I said this earlier when I was in the middle of reading the email, when he says that to you, I'm feeling weird because I just got out of the 7-year relationship. To me, at 8 weeks, that would be my hint that I'm more invested in. That would be the reveal on his part. And to me, that would mean I'm more invested in this relationship, even though she doesn't admit it. She says, I'm looking to just see where this goes. That's not true. She wants a relationship with this person. So admit that to yourself. Right. And then admit the truth shall set you free. I'm more invested in it than this person. I now have a concrete discussion of that. Even if she doesn't dump him, that should be her cue to move away.
Right.
And that's the consequence of that conversation, that she should be pulling back. And if he asks her why she's pulling back, she can say, I'm hesitant because I'm more invested. Be real, be vulnerable. I'm more invested in this relationship than you are. And I don't really want to get more involved with you if you are not ready for a relationship, because that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for.
You know what the difference between what you just said and her whole email is? You spoke in I terms. You said all the things you just said. I want this. I feel this. I do this. This woman, who I think she's got to stop. When you're 6 weeks in with someone, it's still I land. We ain't in we land. She writes,
right. We're not going to work it out together.
No.
Yes.
I have feelings. Not we, not us. She writes, her title is, do people really need to work through things alone? Yeah, you need to start working through your own feelings alone. You need to start going, do I like him? Do I want to be with someone who's sitting there going, well, I'm not sure. I was in a 7-year thing. Okay, it sounds like you're not ready for me. I need to be with someone who is sure. And I think she's starting this you are a couple, you are that, but she keeps doing this we thing, and it's like, you're not there yet. You both have your own living spaces, your own needs and wants, and you're trying to find someone who can fill those things for you. But he's not doing that, and she keeps talking in we. I think it's so interesting the way you talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's after years of doing this show. I don't know if I would have had before doing this show, like the wherewithal to think about relationships in that way. But I think that's just the most important part of dating and finding someone is being honest with yourself and being honest with the other person. So much of what I used to do dating was tell the other person, be that cool girl who was like down. Yeah, I'm looking to see where it goes too. Or like, we can, whatever, you tell me what your problem is and then I'll change around to make it work for you.
Right.
And that's, not only is that not work, but it's not hot.
Right. Right.
What's hot is actually what will make the other person more attracted to you. Actually, if that's still your goal, and I don't know if it should be, is, I'm turned off by that, by you saying that. That's not good for me, so I'm going to divest in you. And that's what a secure person does. It's much easier said than done. But yes. I would imagine if that happened with you, you would be more attracted to a person who is acting like that. And again, I don't know if that's the goal. It's a little gameplay-ish.
Right.
But I do think that's the natural, part of the reason people aren't attracted to you when you do that kind of thing is because, sort of similar to what we were talking about in oversharing, it's like, you just tell me what we need to do to make this work and I'll do it. That's not a sexy thing.
Right. And it comes down to and here's the other side of that. Guys are going to be agreeable with you. The reason this is relatable, there's a lot of women going, I've had that conversation. He said, let's delete Hinge. And then a week later we broke up, is because in that conversation, are you speaking for yourself and telling someone what turns you off? Are you willing to walk away from negotiations, or are you negotiating just to get a deal? It sounds like a lot of her talks with him were just to get back to, so we're together, right? If that's your only option in the conversation, you're not negotiating. You're not even having a conversation. You're just getting to the most comfortable place for both of you. Most comfortable place for him is you shutting the fuck up. Most comfortable place for you is you getting him to go, no, let's delete Hinge. Now we feel better for one night. It's not a long-term solution.
Yeah. And I just don't think telling someone what they want to hear so that you can prolonging the situation isn't resolving the situation.
Right. They're both telling each other what they want to hear.
Right.
It is I to take her side a little bit, yes, he is saying, let's delete Hinge. And she says, he's calling me. Yeah. He's a human being who likes you and thinks you're cute, but he can't get himself to the next level.
Right. Where did he say let's delete him? When did he say that? When they were having the weird conversation?
She said they deleted it together on the same night, like they were doing.
She's like, I'm gonna delete mine. What are you gonna?
She wrote, okay.
What's going on with yours?
Truthfully, I feel like I blacked out for most of the conversation. So she blacked out, and then we ended up concluding the night that we were going to continue. We both deleted our Hinges and agreed on where to go from there. No, you didn't agree to go from there. You did something that was tangible, which I totally understand. You're like, okay, Hinge has been deleted. You can go to your brunch table now and go, we're good. Hinge is deleted.
And I get it. I mean, it's hard, right? It's very hard to be honest with yourself in these situations. Because you've already, and what happens after a month and a half, a lot of the time for women, especially if you're sleeping with someone, is you have this story that you've built about them and where your relationship is going. So you're now kind of like attached to this story of like, this guy could be my new boyfriend and it's going so well when it hasn't gone so well with anyone else. And I really like, you're like invested in it to the point where you're like irrationally making concessions that you shouldn't be making.
Well, on the other side of that, he's going, oh my God, she thinks I could be her boyfriend. Oh my God, she's into me. Oh my God, I'm not there. I want to be there. I like her, but I'm going to be the dickhead who she keeps asking me for answers. She gives no answers. You know?
What answers does he want from her?
Hey, I like you. And if you don't do this, I got to leave.
Right. I mean, that's the hottest way to negotiate in anything.
Right.
It doesn't matter what you're negotiating.
Right.
Like Judge Judy.
Right.
This is my number. Let's have lunch.
Right.
Take it or leave it.
That did make me hot for Judge Judy. I gotta say.
That's what there is something very hot about like,
Right.
This is what I want. If you can give it to me, great. If you can't, then like boyfriend or fuck off.
Right.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. And I'm saying like that. You think it's like by doing that, you end it, and you probably do. But there is something to be said about like people being attracted to people who aren't going to put up with anything that they do, no matter what.
Right. And, at least she wanted tangibility from like deleting Hinge. If you tangibly say, hey, if you can't do this, this, and this, then I got to go.
Right.
Then he goes, oh, well, now I know what to do. It's not that big a deal. Right now, like, and I guess that is something that is interesting. He speaks in all vague terms. He's like, the job, the this, I was in a 7-year thing. And it's like, he's speaking in vague because she is too. She keeps saying, I want a more serious thing in the future. They're probably speaking two different languages. Like, she's avoiding saying, this is a relationship for me, and it's not that big of a deal because all I really want is to, like, hang out with you a couple times a week or, and do some, like, dates. And then he's going, oh my God, she wants a relationship. We're already going to be. And so he's getting ahead. It's fucking with both.
But that's good. He's doing her a favor by getting ahead. I think that's not what she's realizing.
I guess when you go, what do guys get scared away from? It's when you know little, so then they know little. If you don't know anything about what you want today, then he's not going to know anything about what he wants either. Like he can't,
Right.
I think with a lot of guys, myself especially, like you get in, I'm a fixer mode. I want to just know, I want to know that I'm achieving the level. I'm not disappointing someone. So like when someone's like, hey, I'd like in the future to move towards serious, it's like, what does that even fucking mean?
Right. And how do I evaluate if I'm on that when it's so vague?
Right. So
I eventually want to move in with someone eventually too and be in a relationship with someone also at some point.
Right. So so I know in my mind, I make those things larger. I go, and then you have the women that come back to you and go, well, I wasn't looking to get married. It's like, you were thinking about marriage, like.
What? Blocked.
Right. What about all the other shit in between?
Yeah. And I think the thing people don't realize is like either way, you are the winner when you say that. Right. when you are honest with yourself and with the other person about exactly what you want, you're the winner either way, because either they don't waste any more of your time and it ends faster, which has happened to me, or they're like, okay, I actually do want I now I know what you want and I'm able to reach that and do that for you.
Right. Listen, I hope we helped her. I think we solved dating again.
I think so.
I think, as we usually do.
Yes.
And
let us know.
And listen, we love these Sunday specials. Share. Watch on YouTube. Enjoy. Make it your Instagram story. We love all that stuff. So
rate, review, and subscribe. Wish Maddie a happy birthday on the Instagram.
Happy birthday. That's over.
Belated. I forgot. Belated. Yes. All right. We'll see you next week. Bye. The U Up podcast is produced by Sean Kilby, Maddie Paul, and Jorge Morales Pico. Editing by Jorge Morales Pico. Social media by Maddie Paul. Be sure to follow at u.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.